Hi, I'm Mike Burgoyne and I work for a network security company doing sales operations. Our company is headquartered in California along with a number of other network security companies, but I'm based in our regional office in Draper, Utah, and most of the work that goes on here in this office revolves around research and development for various network technologies. At our Utah office, we have 156 employees, the most of which are computer software engineers and technical support staff. Yet out of those 156 employees, only 7 are women, and of those 7 women, only 2 are computer engineers. So I've asked myself, why aren't there more women engineers? So I decided to sit down with Cheryl, who is a software development manager and one of the 2 women in my office who are computer engineers. Cheryl has an undergrad in math and an MBA, and she's a senior level manager at my office. I asked Cheryl the same question, and she was kind enough to share some of her thoughts around the subject. In Cheryl's opinion, this is a problem everywhere, and her comments are consistent with national statistics. In 2014, only 26% of professional computing professions were held by women. Women are well represented in social and medical sciences, but there are very few in engineering and computer and mathematical sciences. That brought me to my next question for Cheryl. Why aren't more women getting involved in STEM careers? STEM standing for science, technology, engineering, and math. Cheryl's response came quickly. There are a number of reasons, but the biggest reason is that those careers are often thought of as male careers. And Cheryl's comments were very insightful and right on target. Numerous studies have been conducted to explain the lack of women in STEM occupations. Girl Scouts of America did a report showing that teenage girls do not feel welcome in STEM classrooms, they do not see the connection with what they are learning in the careers they want to pursue, and they do not have role models in STEM careers. Other studies show evidences of gender bias in STEM professions. For some positions, women are being passed up for men despite having the same credentials. Also, women are receiving nearly $4,000 less per year in compensation. Inequality is yet another barrier for women seeking these opportunities. Others would argue that the gender gap in STEM professions is overblown. According to the percentage of undergraduate degrees awarded to women in the past 20 years, there is no gender difference in the biosciences, social sciences, mathematics, and not much of a difference in physical science. The only significant difference is in computer science and engineering. Another explanation for female underrepresentation in STEM is that young women are not as interested in science and engineering. From early adolescence, girls report to have less interest in math and science careers than boys do. Girls' lower reported interest may be partially explained by social attitudes and whether it is appropriate for girls to even pursue these subjects. I tried this experiment recommended by the Sylvan Learning Center. Ask your daughter to draw you a picture of a scientist and ask her to give a description. Chances are she's going to draw a picture of a white male. Here is a picture of a scientist by my 9-year-old niece. It is up to us to put it into her mind and others the possibility that anyone can be a scientist. Yet with all the studies done in this area, one thing that all researchers seem to agree on is that women and men are equally capable of doing STEM work. IQ tests, SAT exams, and GREs all show slight differences in scoring between men and women, with women outscoring men in several categories. One reason it is important to pave the way for women in these subject areas is the fact that jobs in computing and engineering are growing. It is estimated that 1.2 million computing-related jobs are expected to open by the year 2022. I personally believe it is our duty as parents and teachers to pave the way to help youth explore their options and find their interests. And if there exist social barriers or negative preconceptions, it is our job to remove those. In the following slides, I share ways to bring youth to STEM with an emphasis on promoting STEM to young females. My first recommendation is to look for learning opportunities in the community. Here in Utah, one of my favorite spots is the Museum of Natural Curiosity. This place is more of a giant playground than a museum, but it is a perfect example of how learning can be made fun. Hands-on museums like these are popping up everywhere, and here the science is fun and gender neutral. Second, I recommend checking out online resources. For example, the state of Utah has a website dedicated to promoting STEM. It contains a library, local programs and events, and provides resources for families and educators. You can also check out social media to see what events are happening in your area and in your local communities. In addition, there are hundreds of educational websites that are dedicated to children of all ages. One website in particular that has caught my attention is funology.com. I personally think the key to driving interest in STEM is to make it fun. So not only does this site have online games and content, but it also contains fun craft and activity ideas to do offline. Toy makers are also catching on. Nowadays, sites like Amazon.com have toy sections dedicated to STEM toys and games. Browse through these products and consider these interesting games and toys. The toys and games that young people, especially young girls, play with can mold their educational and career interests. Just let kids' natural curiosity take over. According to the Girl Scouts of America report, which I mentioned earlier, young girls don't feel like they have mentors in STEM. I recommend seeking out mentors in these areas that can provide a positive influence. Even my coworker Cheryl expressed a personal desire to give young girls a positive experience with computer science and math and help them build confidence in these areas. My final recommendation and call to action is to always be a teacher. If a young girl enjoys cooking or baking, explain that making food is often a chemical reaction. Playing with blocks is an elementary form of engineering, and my personal favorite, play board games or other strategic games with your young women and help them develop analytical skills. Whether young women develop an interest to pursue a career in these areas or not, 1, it's important to expand our knowledge, and 2, it's important to help young women to know that they can pursue whatever they desire. In my experience, excitement is contagious. If we ourselves start exploring the world of STEM, it will probably be easier for others to follow.